right, welcome to the Deep Rooted Podcast. We are on today with another great episode. It's your boy, the Swollen Genius. Got a few good brothers with me today. First, our co-hosts, Barry and Paul, them great Sigma men, and I want to recognize them great Sigma men. Here we go. But I do that just in jokes with Dr. Gregory Diggs, who we have on today. He is a great iota man, so definitely want to recognize this brother, as well as J. Ron Divine C.U.T.S Alexander's in the building. So what's going on, fellas?
What's up, brother? What's up?
So this will be a really good show today, man. One of our sections that we have here is called Hometown Heroes. And I want to definitely give you brothers an opportunity to speak, because as black men, black educated men, and black men that have stolen educations, J. Ron, I'll talk about that a little later. We continue to excel in our careers, man, and I like to recognize those brothers. Dr. Gregory Diggs, tell us a little about yourself, man, and where you are.
Oh, man. All right. So right now I'm in Irvine, California, over here in Orange County. I kind of work in two places. So I'm teaching online at the University of Washington in Seattle in the College of Ed. And I'm working over here at University of Irvine as a assistant director in our Office of Access and Inclusion, just working to support bringing in and supporting underrepresented students in engineering.
Awesome. Now, we had another educator in here, in Brother Baron Darden up there. He is also an educator. So definitely welcome you to the show. And Divine J. Alexander, what's good, brother? Tell us about yourself.
Peace. What's going on, brother? As you know, my name is J. Alexander. I go by Divine C.U.T.S. I'm a barber by trade. Just working, man. Just waiting to hear whatever the questions are thrown my way versus, saying whatever else. But
well, this is gonna be.
I work better on my toes, but go ahead, man.
We're gonna put you on them too. We're gonna make sure we put you on them. So I really wanted to get you two guys on the show. Total different backgrounds, right? We got one who has risen through the educational ranks, got his doctoral degree. He's pushing envelopes here in the education sector. Then I have another brother here in Divine C.U.T.S, who has excelled well in his career in the barbering world. This man has been in management from NBA to music as well, right? And now you are a mental health advocate. So, man, I really want to sit and talk to you guys today about mental health and the stability that we are in, based around this pandemic and a variety of things that, as black men, we kind of hold on to and we don't have an outlet for, right? So, Divine, I really want you to talk about what you're doing right now as a mental health advocate throughout your generation in the world, man.
Well, basically, man, I'm an ambassador for a group called, an organization called the Confess Project. And the Confess Project is based out of Little Rock, Arkansas. And basically what it is, it's America's first mental health barbershop movement. So being a barber, oftentimes you brothers go get haircuts. Y'all tell y'all barber stuff that you probably won't tell nobody else. You know what I mean? Sometimes even a doctor, unless it's really terminal or whatever. But so we hold those things that y'all tell us, and then we try to help give you encouragement to seek therapy, because it's a stigma within Black America that we are supposed to be strong, be tough, don't worry about problems, just let it roll off or whatever. But it's not that easy. So with the Confess Project, what we do is focus on 4 core areas. And those 4 core areas is active listening, positive communication, the validation, and removing the stigma. So when you listen to a client positively, you don't necessarily want to give your feedback, but you just want to listen to them, hear them out. And then the positive communication, you giving him the experience on how to pull it out. And then the validation gives him that, okay, I can say this. And then we remove the stigma of being afraid to speak or being in a place where we can speak. So a lot of things we try to do is teach brothers how to unpack a lot of things that's going on with them mentally.
That's real deal.
Yeah,
And,
that's dope, man.
yeah, I
Right.
gotta ask, Greg, how does that tie in for you being in education? You know, for somebody who is normally, you know, teaching in the classroom to now being a virtual teacher, like as well as Baron, you know, kids hold on and hone that different, right? Because
Mm.
we all learn differently. So
Yeah.
how do you think that affects your students today?
You know, I'll try to answer this question in also, you know, highlighting the fact that Divine Cuts, brother Jay Alexander there, what he's bringing to the black community as well. One of the
Mm-hmm.
things that I haven't necessarily, I wouldn't say I've been critical, but one of the things I have been bringing up in a lot of the mental health and wellness sessions and webinars that we've been having on both campuses that I've been at is the fact that we don't root a lot of this wellness and the stuff that's tailored for folks in our communities, right? And so
Right.
when we're hearing things like, yeah, do yoga, like, okay, yeah, some of us might do yoga, but I'm not flexible, bro, and I'm not out there trying to do yoga. So we don't talk about those other means of what we can do to make sure that we're maintaining our mental health so that we're staying sane, not only through this COVID, but also before COVID even happened, we had folks coming into the universities that was stressing because of the transition of coming into the university, right? You're trying
Yeah.
to figure out your job, you're trying to figure out making sure you can graduate, learning classes, learning this new environment, trying to figure out your sense of belongingness. So having spaces where we can go back to that we can feel like this is where my people are, this is where I can connect culturally, where I can connect to is some of the things that I kind of wish we did talk about more at the university levels, because a lot of time the university can only focus on helping the students when they're in our classrooms, when they're on our campus, when they're in our webinars, but we don't always say maybe sometimes the healing it has to come from home. I give a personal example. I lived in, let me see, when I went off to college in 94, and I made sure I came home every summer, at least every summer. And then when I started moving around to different states and abroad, I made sure I came home at least once a year. Why? Because home was where I recharged. Home around my folks was where I was able to get my bearings right, where I could see where I could reevaluate where I'm at mentally in my workspace, in my mental space, in my spiritual space, and all the space, because home was where everything was connected to, so that when I go back out there for the next 11, 12 months, I knew where I was rooted. So I definitely appreciate what Alexander is doing through his Confess project. That's amazing work, brother.
Thank you, brother.
You know,
Yeah, man. That's,
Uh, Divine, I've known you for a long time, brother. We grew up together, and I've watched, and I gotta make sure that I say this because I've watched Divine transition in a variety of ways, right? He's always been my barber for a while, right? I'm trying to get him to move back to Dallas with me, but I don't think he's gonna push. He did tell me to fly him out though. You know, most like black people always want to be flued out. uh, I watched Divine transition in a variety of ways, right? I've watched him develop artists in music. I've watched him mentor barbers, right? Divine has owned a variety of shops, man, and each shop has a different stigma. Each shop has a different mentality, and each shop has a different theme. Now, the shop that Divine owns is called the Lab, right? And I really want you to talk about the Lab, Divine, because a lot of people don't give a foundation of what they do in their careers. But definitely talk about the Lab, man.
Real quick, man. The lab was created during the pandemic. I'm gonna be honest. I I owned a barbershop called the Campus Barbershop on the University of Louisville's campus, and the rent was high, but I could do it while I was working. But when I had to go into savings to try to sustain the shop, and there was no rent relief, the landlords was like, "Yo, still run it in." I'm out 2.5, 3 months. I was like, "Nah, man, I gotta find something else." Then I got tired of being the responsible barbershop owner, meaning I advertise, I spend money for advertisement, but the barbers don't come to work, or they're not there when the advertisement comes in. So then that puts me in a rock and a hard place as a business owner. I'm like, man, this is so. Anyway, I just thought the pandemic was like, yo, I'm gonna get it something smaller. So I downsized to like a suite. But as I'm looking, I was looking for a medical facility to work in, because all your doctors and dentists and chiropractors all derived from barbers. So I was looking for a medical suite to reinvent myself, and I came up with the lab, Louisville Art of Barbering, but it's in a medical facility. But now the thing that we do to try to and it was essential proof. I was trying to make myself essential, essential. So what happened was I went in, explained to them what I wanted to do as far as my vision for the lab, but at the same time, now what I do is offer scalp manipulation for cancer patients. You follow me? Scalp manipulations for alopecia patients. You follow me? The ingrown hair removal. Well, in the hood, we call it hair bumps, but ingrown hair removal. So now I put myself in a position in the medical field, knowing that I'm still a barber, but these are the things that we were taught as barbers. So
Facts.
now I just position myself to be essential if anything ever happened again with this particular uh, pandemic. So I just reinvented myself and repositioned myself to be in a situation such as that. And we do wear scrubs. Me and my coworker, we wear scrubs. Sometimes I like to call him my partner because that's the term that they use in the medical field. You know what I mean? So it's all a play on everything, but at the same time, we still cut hair and we trying to get our money as well. But it's a twist to what we're doing, but we still servicing our people. And I work not far from different therapists within the medical office. So when I talk to people about the Confess Project, I send them down, get a referral fee, and it all made sense. To help with the Confess, the mental health, to help with my ability to stay in business during the pandemic. So it all worked for the good.
Real deal, man. That's real deal, real deal. And on top of that, man, talk
Yeah.
about your music. Talk about your music career as well, man.
Well,
I'm sorry, Baron. And I wanna pull this in as well. Look, this guy is like the Tyler Perry of Louisville, Kentucky. He's
I,
got his eggs in every basket, right?
I ain't gonna say it, but I'm trying, man. I mean,
Ain't nothing
you
wrong with
know,
that. You gotta have different avenues, man.
absolutely. I learned that during the pandemic too. Not that I didn't know. The pandemic just gave me a real rude awakening. Like, yo, you need streams of income, bro. You need revenue, bro. You can't just. What if cutting hair goes away? Now I'm sitting in my couch on the bed, sick because I can't work.
Right,
But
right, right,
as
right.
far as the music is concerned, in 1999, I mean in 2019, I put out an album. It was something that I wanted to do. I've always rapped, but I never completed a project. So I completed this project called "I Don't Just Cut Hair," and you'll tell through the music, I'm touching on a lot of different genres of the music. Uh, but it's not negative. It's all positive music. Um, but here recently, I put out during the pandemic, I put out an EP called "Thoughts Out Loud," which was inspired by the pandemic. I myself is and still am suffer from depression, anxiety, but my music was a little therapeutic for me to do so. You know what I'm saying? So I wrote some songs. I actually wrote one song. The title song is "Thoughts Out Loud," which talks about depression, anxiety, alcoholism, um, compromising of health organs, loss of my mom, relationship issues, all in one song. But then at the end of the song, it shows that I was able to gather myself and get past it with a little gratitude you know what I'm saying, and being just thankful for what I do have. And then it just the music speaks for who I am as an individual. And when y'all get a chance, if you taking notes, Doc, I see you got note. Thoughts Out Loud is the name of the EP.
Download it.
And then I Don't Just Cut Hair is the album. And the I Don't Just Cut Hair, if you like bourbon, I got a song on it called I Like My Bourbon. And from State Kentucky, that's our number one cash crop, and we love bourbon. Then I got another song that Nate might need to hear again. It's called The Barber Shop, because I haven't seen him in 2 weeks.
Here we go. Hey, look, man, I'm back on my pandemic-ish.
No, but man, I appreciate that though, man.
What platform
ahead, I'm sorry.
is your music on?
It's on.
He done froze.
He froze up on us a little bit, yeah. But I think it was great to say it's on all platforms, though.
Oh, okay.
Definitely on all platforms. That's the real deal.
Yeah, man, that's dope though, for real, man. All the avenues you all got, man. Especially the mental health within the community, man. Especially the Black community. I know we feel like, hey, man, we good. We don't need no type of help. You know,
Right.
hey, tell somebody you need help. Hey, bro, go sleep it off. Go do what you do. And we just make things up. But honestly, man, before being put in the barbershop, we've been doing that for years in the barbershop. We're going there and talk about it. And it's therapy for us in the barbershop to do that. But now we need to understand that we can have professionals do it as well, because they have tools and skills for us to use to help us when we're not in the barbershop. So
Straight facts.
Yeah,
that's dope, for real.
Yeah.
Hey, Greg, I want to bring something to you while I think about it. Do you go by Dr. Gregory Diggs or just Greg Diggs?
I go by both. I mean, family, of course, is always gonna call me Greg, but that's something that as I got into the academy and I've learned and have been watching folks. You get a lot of different folks that come with different perspectives. Some are like, I earned it.
Yes,
and
sir.
I'm a man of color, so I want that respect.
Yes,
and some
sir.
are like, I want to be humble with it. I haven't decided on a way that works for me yet. I like to connect with the people though. I don't like setting up barriers between folks, especially in the work that I do with young students. I don't want to be unattainable or inaccessible to folks, right? And sometimes that title, as much as I might have worked on it for myself, it creates a barrier between folks, and you can't help people when you keep creating barriers between you and other people. So, I normally would just tell people to just call me Greg, but trust me, when I'm going to like the dentist and I'm going to these other spaces, I'm like letting them know that, add doctor to as Birdman said, you better throw a little put some respect on my name, right? So
right.
I make sure that they call me doctor, man. But
so I got something for you. This is what you do going forward, man. Humbly call me Dr. Gregory Diggs.
I like that.
Hey, that's how you do that. So we had I want to talk to you really quick, because we had a segment last week, education versus trade, right? And I think you two brothers are perfect for this. One having a doctoral degree, and one that excels very well in a trade in barbershops, right? In barbering. So what is your take on education versus trade? Because education continues to rise, especially with you in California. My God, education continues to rise, and trades are becoming a major impacting deal again.
Yeah.
I can recall back in the day when we all were in school that they had the vocational schools, and they started to cut budgets and do away with vocation, and people learning trades of cosmetology and barbering and baking and welding and all these things. And it became the genre of, you have to go to school, you got to go get that degree to become something. But that ain't the case anymore. So what is your take on education versus trade?
I don't think that's ever necessarily been the take. I I think for a lot of us in I guess in the community as well, education in the U.S. is considered a great equalizer, right? I mean, it's supposed to bring us to the level of those that have colonized and continue to oppress through different positions. So when I think about it, I think about it like this: my education is in education, right? So I'm a doctor of of philosophy in education. If you ask anybody that's a teacher is a trade. It is. It's just the training that you have to go to get it is through a university setting, which creates what? A sense of class, right? A sense of higher status for that. I'm not trying to push communism or anything here, but I had a faculty member I used to work with who came from Italy, and she was like, "What's wrong with communism?" She's like, "When everybody, regardless of their position, is created humanistically and equally." And I was like, you know what? That makes sense, right? Like,
It
your
does.
position as a doctor doesn't make you any different than your position as someone who's working at a restaurant, right? And
Right.
so you know, I'm of the mind that, eventually training, it's all training. And it's just where you getting that training at. You're either getting your training through apprenticeship, you getting that, which used to be for a long time, the only way you can get trained in a lot of positions is
Right.
through apprenticeship. And then, we started creating this industrial factory form of education where now everybody has to go through a system and we're just doing cookie cutter education for folks, right? And so, that might create more people with degrees, but it don't really create a lot of people that are able to do some incredible things, right? And so for me, I don't really see, if you're asking me in terms of politics on how we're supporting and paying for this, or where we're putting the funds at in terms of supporting, yeah, I think it's sad that they got rid of supporting a lot of those trade businesses. But I think the larger scale is we need to look at how we are valuing people and how we're valuing the work that people do for us. Um, Currently reading the Cass, this book called Cass. I think her name is Isabella Wilkerson, I think, and she talks about how the U.S. and folks in the U.S. we're in a caste system out here, whether we want to believe it or not. And the way and she even talked about how Dr. Martin Luther King, who went out to India, and they introduced him, and he said they were like, "I want to introduce you to one of our untouchables from the U.S." And the book and Martin Luther King was like, "Wait, what?" Thrown off. But then when he started to realize the connection with what did that mean to be an untouchable in the U.S., he started to realize that what we're fighting against in terms of having folks that are trying to keep us down, what we're fighting against in terms of this structural racism, yeah, we can consider ourselves like an untouchable, in the U.S. And so I think a lot of that comes from the sense that we create this system where we're trying to argue, or, some folks like to, argue about where do we put the money at versus trade or education. We all need training to do great work, right? And so we need to put it towards educating people to do jobs, to do whatever position you're trying to do for us. And once you start stripping away status, right? Like your status as an incredible barber, or your status as an incredible business entrepreneur, or your status as an incredible health practitioner, which I would give all of those titles um, to our brother on here. I think we can start looking at it in a different way. So I'm not really about trying to see which is better. I'm looking about how do we just make sure everybody can do what they want to do, make a living off of it, but also be given the same humanistic respect for what we do, regardless of what the social status says that we should be giving them.
Nice perspective. Very
Right.
nice perspective. Divine, what's your
I
take
say,
on that, brother?
I say the same thing, man. They one and the same, for real, in my opinion. Uh, they one and the same. You get training or education for your trade, whatever your trade is. You know,
Exactly.
if you're a doctor, if you're a lawyer, if you're a barber, if you're a mechanic, if you're a welder, you got to get educated in order to do it. So I don't really think it's a versus per se. Uh, it's a preference or a time frame. how long do you want to go? Do you want to go to be electrician? It's only what 9 months to a year or whatever. Or some places allow you to just be a journeyman apprentice and just look at a guy do it and you own. You
Yeah,
know,
then you burn
versus
somebody's
going to
damn house
school.
down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, versus going to school, you got 4 years. If you want to be a teacher, you gotta go for 4 years to do that. If
Right.
you want to be a lawyer, you gotta go for 8 years to do that, 7 years to do that. You
And
know what I'm
brother,
saying?
if I can interject for a minute, they got programs like Teach for America. Like when we look at what it takes to be a teacher, in some states you have to get a bachelor's degree and then go get a master's degree in teaching to be a teacher, right? In some states you can just graduate from college and become a teacher, right? And so when we're looking at what does it take to be a teacher, you have folks that are graduated with bachelor's degrees in stuff that aren't even related to education, but you got programs like Teach for America that are like, well, we're just going to put you into the hoods and into the most needed schools without any training to become a qualified teacher other than our couple weeks training like that. And some of these folks, they go in and they flounder. They just, they mess up, and some go in great. But again, that's another trade experience. That's what we're calling trade. That's like a trade to get into teaching, to go through Teach of America. So we're even bringing this concept of this idea of trade or training as a trade into education, so we can try to get more teachers out there. So, you absolutely, I'm in total agreement with what you're saying.
And again, you gotta keep in
Yeah, man.
mind. You gotta keep in mind. Divine here is an educated trade entrepreneur. This guy has a bachelor's degree in paralegal, right? This guy do it all, man.
Bachelor's degree in legal studies,
This guy does it
associate
all.
in
Look at him.
paralegal.
See, he's that one that your boy Mike Epps was talking about on Friday, where you don't know where to kick the dough in at.
Yeah, but this go back to what I was saying about social status, though, right? Like, I mean, is that gonna make you a? Does that make you a? What does that do for you in terms of doing the work that you do in the barbershop, right? Does that put you at a higher status? Do you tell people that you have the degree? I mean, like, all of this stuff, man, is like, for me, I just like, when I'm looking at folks, I'm looking at people, right? It's not your social status isn't what's gonna make me like you better, ain't gonna make me deal with you better, your character, who you are, and then whatever you doing, if you good at. Right, like, to be honest, man, if I didn't go down the education route, I definitely would have been in some type of acting or performance type of skill out there, and what I like to do. I just chose the route that I wanted to go down. So, you know, that's
Well,
what.
I mean, I did the same. I kind of was burned out of barbering for real, and again, like Nate said in the intro, kind of reinvented myself. I've always done that. So I've always had a dream of really being a lawyer, and it's roadblocks. But I went to school to get my degree to go work with a lawyer and try to pursue that career as a lawyer. But I still had to work, still had children, couldn't figure out school and the time, and then the school that I was gonna attend shut down the evening program of law school. So there was no option. I had to work in the morning to take care of my family. I couldn't go to school. So those were things that were put in my way as far as obstacles, but it still gave me an outlet to be able to do why I really went to do it, was to gain knowledge of the law, come back and present it to my people and say, here's where I can help you at. And if you ever get in trouble, here's what you do or don't do. And I know some lawyers that can help you. And I got a good rapport. So it still worked. But hell, sometimes when I do send people to the lawyer still wants me to do some of the legwork. So I draft stuff. You know what I mean? I draft motions. I do things for them, and I get a kickback off the end. But I'm still doing it within my means. You know what I'm saying? So, but no, I don't enter rooms and say, "Hey, I got a bachelor's degree as a legal studies guy." Nah, I don't. Because it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, all that matters is you being a real, genuine person, being able to help people where they are and meet them where they are. Period, man. And it's what it seemed like you brothers are, man.
And that's why I was telling you when you asked me that
understand
question.
that for sure.
I'm sorry, go ahead, brother.
Go ahead, brother.
No, I'm saying, man, I was agreeing with both of y'all, man. You know, just seeing that and what you all talking about, man. You know, just having college degrees and different things like that. You just don't put them out there to say, hey, you know, I got this degree. I chose the education path myself, but I also have a trade as well. So, like, I have a CDL, and I used to drive the school bus and drive different trucks and different things like that. You know, to make that living. But people rarely knew that. And right now, even in my profession, they look at me differently. You know, when I walk into the school, it's automatically, hey man, let's go get the security guard. You know, they look at me. You know, I'm big, I'm 6'2", 300. They're like, okay, well, you know what? He got to be security, not knowing that I have a, you know what I'm saying, a principal certification, and you know, possibly gonna pursue my doctorate in the future. So I mean, that's just, what y'all doing, man, is great, man. And I just really appreciate it for real.
I appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, same here, man. Yo, but this go back to Nate when you had asked me earlier about which do I go by. You know, like I said, when I use that title, I throw that title out for and like I said, one is to I don't want to create barriers. But when I do throw the title out, I throw it out because I know when I go into spaces where I'm looked at as someone who is gonna be a threat or someone who it doesn't look like they belong there according to whoever's looking at me feeling. Yeah, I want them to let them know, you know, like, yeah, you need to change your perception.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Perceptions go a long way, man. And in a positive and negative manner, right? And it really truly is the case. I've said for many years, man, even before I got my degrees, that I felt like at times I was better off, you know, because I had the trade. You know, I went through and learned and some sort of an apprenticeship in any job that I did. I started out in retail and restaurant management, right, and learned as much as I can and became fixers. You know, I got to the point to where they would put me in locations just to go in and fix it because they knew I could turn it around. And then for me, the education was just kind of a stamp of approval for myself more than anything, right? Um, and that's a really good conversation piece because I find that I always told one of my brothers, my actually biological brothers, he's an anomaly. He is one that doesn't have a high school diploma but has excelled in truck driving, and now he works for the city. This guy has no high school diploma, quit school in the 10th grade, but is very very successful. Just goes to show you that education will take you to some extent, to a distance or an extreme, but it's really based on what you want to do. He didn't want to go to school. It just wasn't his forte. And then I have another brother who actually just started his own trucking company. Again, no high school diploma, and is working on his brokerage license as we speak. So that's kind of why we had the conversation piece last week. So it's good to get insights from individuals who have education, or also who has trades, to see what is that fine line between the two, and how they intertwine. So it's really a subjective thing, if you ask me. But definitely dope, man. And I want to bring something else to you guys. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, just real quick, brother. To be honest with you, like they're saying, they work hand in hand for real. They have to work hand in hand because you can't do one without the other.
Right.
You know, and plus, like you were saying earlier, it's the way I forget one of your gentlemen was talking about. Well, maybe both of you are, how you treat people regardless of what you have. You know, so like in the district I work for, it's classified and certified. So a lot of your certified look down on your classified employees.
Right.
For me being a former classified employee, now being certified, you notice that you need both of them. And to tell you the truth, your classified really, they hold you together for real. So, I mean, just to be 100, brother, the classified do a whole lot more than what people,
Right.
You know what I'm saying, what people know and what they think.
That's why I said last week when I said building those relationships also. Yes, it's good to have that education and have that trade, but it's also building that relationship, like brother said, being a genuine person. You know what I'm saying? If you build those relationships, those can get you a long way too, besides having an education.
And I've always prided myself on that. Excuse me, I've never been a stranger in any room. I go introduce myself immediately and seek out who look like they can help me, not necessarily benefit me, because it sounds like a more usual word. People use you like that, but I mean, that can help, that can assist my growth or whatever. So I did that with Nate. I was like, Nate, what when do you go to school, man? What class you go to? I was like, okay, okay, I found some help.
Right.
Listen, let me touch on that really quick. Divine stole college classes, guys. I literally gonna stick by that to the day I die. It was
I
funny.
see.
Let me tell you about it. This is really funny. Um, on a couple times I would come home. I went to West Kentucky University, of course, and I would come home and take classes at University of Louisville to kind of progress my degree quicker, during the summer. And of course, I'm from Louisville, so I would get my haircut at Divine. And all of a sudden, one day I'm sitting in this class, and it was a business class and 300, 400 level course, junior, senior level course. And of course, the classes are so big because they're stadium seating. Man, the professors don't know who's in these classes. And I'm talking to somebody, and I heard somebody making a lot of noise, and pss, 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 and I turn around and look. I'm like, man, what you doing in here? Oh, Divine then got a college schedule, man, to find out where the classes are. Now, this didn't happen once. This happened 2, 3 times. The Divine would come in kind of like Mark Zuckerberg. He'd get the knowledge he needed, and he'd roll out.
He got his free education.
Free education, man. And he was doing this in a variety of different classes. It got to the point to where they actually started thinking Divine was a student.
Yep.
Right? I guess it's kind of smart if you look at it, though.
I just didn't get the degree at that time with it. You know what I'm saying? But
I've been teasing him about that for years, though, man. I mean, for years I've been teasing him about it. But to touch on something else, though, Divine, the Confess Project. What's the next steps for you guys for your Confess Project?
Basically, man. Actually, we're going on tour the 24th of this month, man. We start the 22nd in Boston, New York, and Philadelphia, and then in April we're going to Dallas, April the 10th and the 11th, and San Francisco and Los Angeles in May. Basically, we're sponsored by Gillette now. Gillette has gotten behind this movement because, for one, oftentimes Black people use Gillette products, and we just use them just because we see it on TV. So it's the marketing aspect of Gillette. But Gillette never really cared about advertising with us or putting us in front of advertisement or whatever. So now Gillette has gotten behind the African-American barber, and now they even taking it a step forward in our partnership with this Confess Project movement. And, I like to shout out Lorenzo Lewis, who he's actually the founder of the Confess Project, again, out of Little Rock, Arkansas. And I'm just an ambassador here in the state of Kentucky, where I galvanize barbers here and try to give them the training that I was given to be able to recognize those 4 core points and be able to recognize individuals that might be in some sort of need of some sort of therapy.
But I got a question for you. Is this only limited to barbers? How about on in the women's salon area? Do they have a similar movement, or is it open to allowing that space also? Because that space serves our sisters.
Absolutely. However, right now it's just for barbers and for reaching out to Black men and Black males, young men and boys. For one, again, like I stated earlier, it was we're the ones that really don't unpack, man. Women are taught. Oh, you gotta, you know what I'm saying? He did, but us, we'll go, fuck that bitch. You know what I mean? But what's wrong, bro? What happened? Fuck that bitch. But if we don't get the chance to talk about it, we just bottle it inside. That's where the harm is, man. We the ones that have so much to unpack that if you step on my sneakers in the club, bro, I'm killing you because some other shit that happened to me yesterday or 2 months ago or a year ago, you did it to me, bro. So off with his head. And that's where we at with it, and that's what we're trying to prevent. Whereas it don't happen too much with women getting into it like that. and as far as men, we got to get back to being the foundation and the leaders of and the heads of our communities, man, and our families.
Do you think like with that, do you think that's put in us as a child of us growing up? Do you think that is instilled in us like, you better not cry, you tougher than you a man? So do
Absolutely.
you think
Absolutely. That's where it stems from. That's
What
exactly where it
what
stems
goes on
from.
in this house stays in this house.
Right. You know what I mean? Even with the child molestation culture in the black community, you don't say nothing about Leroy, you know, doing this, you know, but let it happen to Jessica. You know what I'm saying? Shit, they telling, you know what I mean? They are taught to talk and express and don't hold in. All we're taught and given is a Bible and Jesus Christ. And I'm not knocking that because I'm a believer, but that's all we given. Just take it burdens to the Lord and leave them there. No, we need to talk. You know, I don't know if y'all know, but in the country, it's 4% African American therapists. 4% of African American mental health therapists in America.
Well, it's not pushed.
If I could add to that, man,
It's not really pushed though, right? Would you? And I don't think you would disagree with that. Now we're at that point. And I do apologize, Doc. We're at that point right now where the thing we push more than anything is black educators. Black educators. We need black educators. We don't. We try to push the envelope of black doctors and black lawyers, but we don't push black therapists.
No, because that's where the healing is. That's where the healing is. You could be a great black doctor, a great black lawyer, but still be traumatized from some things that happened. But if you get an opportunity to reach out to a therapist and you this great black doctor, or you this great black lawyer, now you get to help unpack a lot of the baggage or the trauma that you was dealing with as a youth.
right?
So if I can add to this one, I'm in total agreement, but I also know that there's some, not only because of the stigma that we have within the community about, you know, mental health and what that means in getting help, but also the fact that, you know, that industry is expensive. And when we got a large number of our folks who are still just trying to keep, you know, food on the table, you know, there has to be alternative ways. But number two, in academia, they talk about this stuff in terms of what they call toxic masculinity. Right. This is talking about and just like you were saying, we don't have as many brothers or sisters that are in this field of psychology where they're not able to talk about what is the difference between how toxic masculinity plays itself for white folks versus how it plays itself out in the black community. And again, so we still, not only do we need people that are practitioners that are out there to be psychiatrists and psychologists, we also need more folks out there that are trying to do the research behind it so we can, number one, bring out what are the healing things that in our communities that we already know and do. And number two, what are the ways that this toxic masculinity has been impacting our brothers in terms of what we already have been talking about here. So I'm 100% in that, but that would be the term I would say that in academia that they start using in terms of talking about this idea of how do we create ourselves as men is a toxic masculinity.
And I keep hearing that terminology too. Within the last year or two, I've heard it thrown around. Which is a new term in academia. It's discussed a whole lot where men are toxic to ourselves. Where Paul was saying, we taught to hold it in. So if we taught to hold it in, eventually it's gonna blow, man. It's a powder keg waiting to explode, bro. No matter what it is, but we gotta talk about it, man. We gotta talk, man. And men, we can't be ashamed or afraid to talk about mental health issues or your feelings, period.
Right.
Before it begins, mental health issues, it's your feelings, it's your emotions. And, I always refer back to my two favorite people that cried. And if y'all want to be tough, you can be tough. But your favorite rapper cried, man. Tupac, he kept telling you how many tears he shed. You know what I'm saying? So we can't miss me with that. Then the very same other person is Jesus Christ, whether you believe him or not, or whether the story is true, or whether he existed or not. But within that story, it's a version of a small sentence that says Jesus wept. So if he wept, he's the same individual that came to. Now, again, I don't know where anybody is, and I'm not stepping on nobody's toes. However, if the story is fake, the principles in the story is what's real.
Yeah.
If the person never existed, the principles that they wrote about the person is real for us to look at and observe in our real life. So if Jesus wept, why can't we cry? If Jesus had to take some time away and be like, man, I'm just sick of this. I'm gonna go away for 40 days and 40 nights. We don't know if he went to a therapy. We don't know if he went to go see somebody. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, he took some rest away from the norm so he could do like you did, Greg, go back home and charge and then come back out to the people.
Yo, the other thing that you bringing up that makes me think about, when we look at this terms of, what it is to be masculine as a black brother, I'm thinking about Ibram X. Kendi's books, Stamped, where he starts talking about that and how this idea of being a black male was actually in response to what they saw white males were like in America. And so we started emulating that, which is why for a long time you see a lot of brothers wasn't really supporting their sisters, right? And so, again, history has just shown that this idea of having been colonized and enslaved, all of this stuff is still building up, and now we're addressing it, and we got to recognize that this isn't how we initially are. This is how we were colonized to be. This is how we were programmed to be, and so I put it out there personally with my wife. I even to every morning my first question to her after praying for her in the morning is, how can I connect with you emotionally and mentally? How can I show you my sensitivity today? Because I know I got a lot of work to work on too. And I got a PhD, but the PhD ain't in training. It hasn't been about training myself how to be emotional. It hasn't been about training myself on how to express my feelings. The PhD is in my craft, right? Is in my trade. I still got to do the work. I still got to do the work emotionally, and that's why I go back to what I was saying earlier. It don't matter what our trade, what our positions are as males, as black males, we all are still having to deal with some of this trauma that's been instilled in us, and that we have learned to just continue to process through our lives. So trying to get rid of it.
I want to thank Deeply Rooted for real, man, for having this conversation. For one, because it's being brought to the forefront now. Just recently, Michelle Obama just touched on it. She had an interview or something about mental health and how we can break this stigma or whatever. So the conversations are being had now, and that's what's good.
Hey,
You're right.
I think it's great, man, that we are talking about it. Because me personally, I know me, I do hold a lot of stuff in, and it takes a lot for me to get mad. And then, but I got a couple people I could call and just, if I need to let it out. But I know I need to work on that better. So I know you said your conference is coming to Dallas. I live in Dallas, so if there's a way I can help or attend, what I'm saying, to get some more information, please let me know. I'm there.
Cool. Well, we got real quick, get my number real quick, and then we can text real quick. 502.
Man, do it offline. I don't want everybody.
For real.
Yeah,
for real. Your number,
Nationwide, Divine C.U.T.S.
Right. 502.
So I want to touch on this really quick, then we're gonna move on. And I want to because I think as a black male, a lot of times, well, I'll say this: we're programmed from the beginning from women, and this is not a knock on women, but we're programmed from the beginning from most women to hold in your tears as a man. Men don't cry. We've heard this from women. Men don't cry. Be a big boy. Big boys don't cry, right? A lot of times, we don't even know we're in a depressed state. And I say that because and this is from a personal experience, and I don't mind sharing it because I can recall when I first moved to Dallas in 2009, I found myself sitting in a closet for hours listening to music and didn't even know I was there. I can't recall that. I can't even begin to tell you how I got in the closet, why I was in the closet, but the music, listening to music, was enough to ease me and to keep me relaxed. And it was because I fell into a financial difficult situation. I'm so used to hustling. If I'm not hustling, my background was this hustling. But not only that, I always had a job, and I couldn't find a job, and I got the people depending on me. I didn't cry because I was told as a kid, men don't cry. Nobody told me I was depressed. I had to figure this shit out because somebody pulled me out of a closet and was like, dude, you've been in there for hours. 3, 4 hours didn't pass and you don't realize it. So this is a great talking point. And I say that because we have to first go back to the foundation and unlock it and rebuild, right? We have to be able to recognize that there is an issue, as your 4 core points talk about, validate it, and to be able to speak on it. But we also have to transition the individuals who started us that way and make sure they understand it's okay to release.
Yeah,
It's
sometimes
okay
crying
to
is the best
have that,
medicine, mate.
man.
Sometimes crying is the best medicine, bro. I swear, bro.
Yeah, yeah. Been there. Been there.
Hey,
Now,
on this one, you know, I actually, I'm half Korean and half black.
No, you don't say.
Nah, you can't tell, brothers. You can't tell. But I actually bring two cultural backgrounds behind this because I grew up till I was about 11 with my Korean mother, and then went and lived with my grandparents on my African American side, and to see the stark difference in what I was told to have to do. Like my mom was very non-traditional Korean in terms of the fact that she wanted to develop independence for me, but developing independence, developing resilience, tenacity is not the same as saying you don't cry, boys don't cry. And I think that distinction between what we're trying to develop and what parents and again, I agree with you, Nate, not to knock those that have raised us and have gotten us this far and have taught us, but at this point, I just got out of a training. What got us here, it is not going to get us to the future. And we got to start shifting it.
facts, straight facts, man. I want to move on a little bit, fellas. We didn't. This has been a great conversation. I want to have an open discussion, man. As our new president has come into place, these stimuli have started hitting these accounts. I've seen a few TikToks where everybody's looking at their phone every 5 minutes to see if that money had hit that bank account, right?
I'm about to check right now.
Yeah, me too. What's funny you say that?
You better check right now and see if you got your money, man. What do you guys, and this is just an open discussion, man, and then we'll end this thing. What do you guys think is a good idea right now for people to use their money for? Because you've seen that there are people that are bashing people because they talking about what they gonna do with their money. You got your money, it's yours to do what you want to with. And then for some people, this is a blessing to have, man, because people needed this money to pay their bills. They're behind on their rent, their electric's about to be cut off, the water's about to be cut off, they needed food in their house, transportation. Then there's the others that's gonna re-up. They're gonna buy new bricks. Right? And that's just keeping it real, right? Keep it real now. You got people that's gonna take the money and gonna do great things with it. Are they gonna do the necessary bare minimum that they need just out of necessity? And then you got the others that's gonna take it and try to flip it. You ain't got yours yet, dog?
No.
Yeah, I ain't got mine either. I don't know. I need to call Joe, see what the hell going on with my money.
Right.
Hey, but look, Joe, Trump, I ain't getting from neither one of them chumps. Trump gave out the 1,200 last summer, and then the 600 at the end of the year last year. I ain't get it, and now this. I still haven't got anything, and I'm in their system. I'm like, well,
there's a criteria.
One that never had nothing anyway, so
There's a
I ain't gonna miss.
criteria. There's a criteria now. You can't make more than 75 a year.
I don't.
I was gonna say you might be Big Bang Hank. You see Dr. Greg over there like shit. I know I ain't gonna get this money,
Right.
man.
He know he ain't get it. He know he ain't gonna get it.
Look. Yo, I'm just getting out, so I ain't there yet where I'm trying to be at. So I'm still getting a check. I just
No,
put
but
it
as
like
far as
that.
what you're saying, Nate, man, real quick, as far as the conversation though, is I think, in my opinion, people that wish they always had a lump sum of money to where they're able to invest or create a business, whatever business you could create with that minimal amount of money. I think you should do it. Whether it's just the creating an LLC for $100, $200 or whatever, just so you can have something to begin to see how the business sector works in America with these LLCs. You know what I'm saying? Or invest, Robinhood, whatever, all kind of stock options now. Where now you at times we wanted to invest, you like, man, I ain't got the money. I got to pay my bill. This is free money. So take 700 of it, I guess, 500 of it, and start playing around with wherever you go. What can possibly bring a return for you.
I'm gonna add on. I'm gonna add on to that, Greg. Before you start, brother, do you think it should be a lump sum payment, or should the government be issuing a monthly stipend? Ooh.
I saw some folks that was hoping for that, and some folks that got kids are going to be getting a monthly stipend of around 300 for that. To be honest, man, the government is doing what they're doing. I'm more concerned about the people that are receiving it, if they're educated as to how to be, as to what to do with it. The question that you ask is a great question, but I think when you see it on the news, all you see is folks telling you you're getting it. You don't see folks telling you when you get it, what do you need to do with it, right? What is the best thing? First thing is going to be, yeah, make sure you keep the lights on. You got a roof over your head. But the second thing is, if you got a couple hundred saved up, to spare after you save, right? That's a key point. It's not like you got a couple hundred after you finish paying the bills. It's like, no, you got a couple hundred after you finish paying the bills, and then you save, and then you got something saved up. And it's that one that I would say go on and try to invest, but definitely try to start saving something, because that's important. We don't save enough in the U.S.
Hey,
Not at
but
all.
Greg, they
Man,
did tell us
what
what to
you
do with the
said,
money.
bro? What you said,
What they tell you, what they said to do with it? Spend
Stimulate
it.
the
right?
economy.
That yeah, stimulate the economy. But you know what though? Hey, that's a great talking point, man, for the next time. Because here's the thing, we wasn't taught to save. I know growing up in a single parent household, you know what I'm saying. My mom lives check to check,
Right.
so now me and my wife had to learn on our own how to save money and how to be intelligent financial literacy, have financial literacy with the money. Feel what I'm
Yep.
saying? So those are things that we're learning now. We've learned and are still learning.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I
Invest
mean,
Next,
credit.
y'all, I got one of my frat brothers who is a financial advisor. He deals a lot with insurance and how do you get life insurance and able to build up off of that. If y'all do this next week, he definitely should be somebody you have on here. He's
Signal
been in
Brothers,
business for
please
over 10
recognize
years.
an IOTA's trying to give us more IOTA news. I'm just joking.
Yo,
I'm
I'm
just
just trying
joking.
to share with you. Ionas be doing big things
Hey,
out
hey, man, look, we are all the divine nine, y'all. We gotta stop the
That's true.
division.
Hey, that's true. It's funny, man, and a lot
Yeah.
of people don't understand it, but it's that's one thing that drew me to being Greek was the amazing brotherhoods and sisterhoods, regardless the unity, regardless of what organization you are in, we're able to come together as black organizations and help progress our people.
And
That was
have
the thing that drew me more than anything, man. The biggest thing,
Yeah. Hey,
man.
when you're in a fraternal desert, and when I say that, that is when you live in an area where where you ain't got no fraternity, there's no fraternities that are big out there, and you see another Greek, regardless of if theirs or not, you excited, bro.
Ain't that the truth?
Absolutely.
Seattle,
That's why I'd
Washington.
be excited to see all y'all brothers. You feel me?
Here you go. Well, you know what, man? You need to get on board. Stop playing it. Don't be honorary no more. Come on.
No, y'all gave Bill Clinton one.
Here you go.
So why should I have to go through these burning sands
Listen to this guy. Listen to this
I
guy.
think you need to be talking to your son about what the proper organization to be looking at is.
Hey, you know what? Hey, look.
You.
I do talk to him, and he always get me. I say 1963 on the 5th step, Baltimore, and then he goes, Daddy.
Hey, y'all too crazy, man. Brothers, I really appreciate you guys' insight today. I really appreciate you guys coming on to the Deep Rooted Show and giving us your ventilation. That's the whole point of this, man. We want to be deep rooted, and everybody's opinions and perspectives are really taken. And we thank you so much, man.
Yeah, really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, brother.
Hey, so this is another great show, guys. Appreciate it. Until the next episode.
All right. Peace.
Peace.
Y'all later.